All right, guys, welcome back to another KevCAM night class tonight. Tonight got something special going on for you guys. So we have a couple international guys with us, but Sydney is actually going to be showing you guys a sneak peek of what's coming out in 2019, which will be out shortly. So we'll kind of show you not everything that's new with 2019, but the highlights or what Sydney feel, or not myself, feel that is going to definitely benefit you guys in any way possible. And let me just take a peek at the attendees real quick. And I don't see any new names in here, so I won't go through the same rigmarole, but if you guys do have questions, definitely feel free to put those in the questions panel, and I'll stop Sydney in this tracks and we can ask those questions as they come through for you guys. But just want to kind of get you a sneak peek of kind of what's coming forward for you guys in 2019 and what to expect. I know a lot of you guys are asking, when is it going to be released, and we don't have an exact release date yet. We wanted to double check it and triple check it for you guys to make sure everything is 100% for you guys. But with that being said, we also have Greg Payton online with us as well to help out as well. So, and I'm trying to see if we have anybody else in here. I don't see anybody else. So, Sydney, we'll switch it over to you right now, and you can kind of show us the sneak peek at what's coming towards for 18. As soon as I can make you presenter here. There you go.
Okay. There we go. Ah! Get rid of me. They don't need to see me.
And
okay.
And just the FYI, it is 4 o'clock in the morning for Sydney. So if he does any anomalies or anything like that, it is a little early for him. So.
Yeah. All right. Good evening, everybody, and good morning to myself. As Greg said, what I'm going to do here today is you do see my screen, correct?
Yep, we see you.
Excellent. I'm going to do a sneak peek of SolidCAM 2019. Some of the really nice highlights that we've worked on. They're both in iMachining and simulation, and some 2.5D options. Some of the things that a lot of people have been waiting for also in the past. And as I'd like to also say what to what Kevin had just mentioned, it is being released soon, and it has been already released to the resellers and to staff members, to other staff members, so they can do some run some beta testing. Because as Kevin had mentioned, when we get it to you, we want to make sure that it is running correctly, and the only way to do that is get it out to some beta testing, and which we have done. And we want to make sure that when you get it, you can actually run with the program instead of waiting for things to be fixed. Okay, so let's get going. What's new in SolidCAM 2019? All right, I'd like to start off one of the new features that we have inside 2.5D milling, and we call this multi-depth drilling. Now, multi-depth drilling is something that can be used for both deep hole drilling and for parts where you have cross holes. Now, this particular type of operation is a completely new operation, and it gives you full control of how you want your drill to move through your hole. So it's completely manual operation. You can tell it to do exactly what you want. And this is very, very important, especially for deep drills and for cross-hole drills. And I'll show you that, and I'll give you a demonstration of that in the morning, in a moment. For me, it's the morning, so I just said that by accident. Okay, we give you complete spin direction control. We give you also complete control at every single level of your spin rate, your feed rate, and also pecking. At every single point, you have complete control of what's going on. Now, I'm going to upload a part here for a moment. And what you see here, it's a simple part, but the idea is over here is as follows. Let me just do this. You can see a little better what I'm talking about over here. You'll see that I have holes going through the drill. I also have cross holes going through the part. Now, normally, up until now, to get complete control in your regular drilling operation, you had a little bit of a difficult. It was kind of difficult because what I would like to do is I'd like to drill out over here, and then as I'm going from here to the next point, I'd like to go directly down without doing any pecking, then continue pecking here, then go directly down and continue pecking here. Now, this is something that I was not able to do in the past. I would have to come up with some kind of workaround or even write it by hand if I wanted to do something like that. So we've added a new operation called multi-depth drilling, which we can see also over here, multi-depth drilling. I've created an operation already. I'm going to show you the operation that I've created, and then I'm going to suppress this, and I'm going to actually show you step by step how I've created the operation. Okay, so if I were to go into the operation that I have over here, you can see in the beginning it starts out like any old drilling operation. You have your geometries, you have your tools, you have your levels exactly the way we had it in the previous, and you can see we're going to a total depth of 150 millimeters. Now, the big difference is in technology. This is where you have complete control. Now, this is how it looks after you've programmed it. Okay? Now, I'd like to also mention that when working with the multi-depth drilling, there is no cycle involved. All the movements are all in G1 and in G0. So if you're going down, it'll be going down in G1 or G0, depending what you told it to do. And also the spin direction is according to what you wanted for each segment. So I have complete control. For instance, I even can tell it if I'm going up, I can tell it, you know what, I want to go up counterclockwise, not a problem at all. Okay, you can do that as well. I can turn on and off the coolant at any point, dwell at a certain point, and have peck at every single segment. And I see every single one of these lines is a segment. Okay, and I say, okay, I'm starting off at 2 millimeters. You'll excuse me that I'm talking metric, because that's the way I'm used to working. So my apologies for that. And you can see I can put in a value over here, okay, minus 33, then to minus 70, then to minus 83, then to minus 120, and then to my final depth. You'll also note that we have two segments, excuse me, that are highlighted. Those are the segments that actually are the default where you start off from. In other words, when you open this up, you'll automatically get these two values over here. Now, let me just go back in here and show you exactly how this is done. So I'm going to suppress this operation over here, and we're going to start an operation of multi-depth drilling. Okay? We'll create our geometry. In this particular case, I want the 3 holes that are over here. I'm going to choose my drill. In this particular case also, it is a, this one over here. It's a 6 millimeter, just under 1/4 of an inch drill. That is approximately, you can see the length here, about 200, which is about just over 8 inches long. And you can see how much is outside the holder as well. Okay, my levels, upper level is at the top over here. My depth is at the very bottom over here. Sorry, here we go. My mouse is giving me a little crazy over here. Just a second.
I think that mouse needs a cup of coffee too.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, here we go. There we go. I have to be inside the field. Now I need another cup of coffee. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going down to that depth, and I wanted to go full diameter, and I also wanted another -2 on my delta. Okay, so we have 152 plus whatever the full diameter will give us. Okay, up until now, we work just like a regular drill. Now let's go to technology. In the technology, as I mentioned before, you'll get the start with the safety distance and the end over here, the actual bottom, okay? You can't go lower than the bottom because that's the end. That's the final level that you have decided to go to at the very end over here. Now, how do I add a segment? Now, before I add a segment, I'd like to do the following. I'd like to have my spin direction. You see right now my spin direction, since it's the very first one, I can have it go in any direction I want. I want it to be off for now. No spin at all. You'll see that my spin rate turns to 0. I don't need coolant, so I'll turn that off, and I definitely do not need dwell on at this moment. Now, I'd like to add a segment in between and start my operation from here. So, if I'm standing on 2, that's where I'm right now, I can go over here and add, or right-click to add a segment. So I'm going to click over here to add a segment, and I'm going to put a value. What value am I going to put over here? Well, if I take a look at my part over here, I see I'm going to go down over here, and that's 30 millimeters. So I'm going to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to put, I want it to go now to -33. At what feed rate? Let's say I have feed rate of 600. Okay, I'm going to leave my spin rate over here as shown over here. This should have been 0. Just a second. Okay. And I'm going clockwise. I want my coolant on, I want my dwell on, and I want to have control of my PEC. Now let's take a look at how we can control our PEC over here as well. If we see our PEC is checked on, and I'm going to say, okay, I'll go down every 5 millimeters at a PEC. Now, we also have an additional option over here of gradual step down, where I can say, okay, I stepped that down, I went down 5 millimeters, but I want to decrement at every single step down by 1 millimeter. So my first step will be 5 millimeters, my next step will be 4, until I hit 2 millimeters. Once I hit 5, 4, 3, 2, it'll stay at 2 millimeters and keep on pecking at that level. Now, next over here, we have our release distance. Do I want to go all the way back, or do I want to go back to the start of my segment? Or I may want to even do something else. I want to go PEC clearance level, where I say, okay, when I PEC, I only want to go up 1 millimeter, and when I go back down towards my part, I want to go 0.1 millimeters, so very, very close to where I actually stop. So I have complete control. Now I want my dwell time to be at 1 second. Okay, that's where I have it set. So right now, what have I created? 2 millimeters to -33. Okay. Now I'd like to continue now from -33 down to this point over here, 70 millimeters. So I'll say, add another step, add another segment over here, and I'm going to make this at -70. And at -70, I'm going to say, this segment does not need PEC. Okay, you see segment level 3, my PEC is off now.
So basically you can PEC through the first half, but then if you want to just do a regular straight drill through the second half, you can just do that, and then you can PEC through the third half, right?
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I can do. I can even say I wanted to go from this point even at rapid, if I wanted to. Or I can put in a specific feed rate that I want. Okay. Now, my next level, Okay, my next segment, I'm going to say, all right, I want to go down to minus 83. So I'm going to put in the value of minus 83. I'm going to put the feed rate, sorry, at 600. And at this point, I'm going to have my PEC on. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. This is going to be 5. This is going to be 1. And this is going to be 2. Okay? And then I can continue down. I continue down to the next one, which is 120. So I'm going to make this at minus 120. And for this case, just to show how it works, I'm going to just put in a feed rate of 1,000. Okay? And with the rapid, I do not need a dwell, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to leave my coolers on. And so we, from 120 down, we're it's going to go fast. Now, my next level, which is my finish level, I'm going to have this at 600. Okay, again, I'm going to have it PEC on. And I'm going to say, again, 5, 1, 2. Okay, now, it's this, now I want to go up. If I want it, and I want to have a little bit of control when I go up. Just for example, I mean, this, you don't have to work the same. I mean, just showing you different possibilities. When I'm going up, I'd like to go, for example, to minus 1 millimeter. Okay? And when I go up, I'd rather want to go up with G1, but I want to do it pretty quickly. And for some reason, I may say to myself, you know what, I want to do this counterclockwise, going up. Okay? Obviously, I don't need my dwell, and I do not need PEC. And my next level, I'm going to add one more after this. I'm going to say, okay, I want you to go up to 2 millimeters now, back to the start. Again at 1,000. And I'm going to turn off my spin direction. Now, why would I want to turn off the spin direction? And this is especially helpful when you're doing really deep holes. And this is also true when you want to go into a part. Sometimes when you have a long drill, you do not want to leave the part completely while it's spinning. You want to stop it from spinning before you go out, because if you're going out of the hole and it's spinning and it's really long drill, what's going to happen is your drill is going to turn into an egg beater. In other words, it's going to fly all over the place. So you don't want to have that. So you can actually turn it off. I'm just showing you different ways you can use this. Now, I'm just going to do save and calculate. And let's take a look at the simulation to see exactly what happened over here. Okay? So I'm going to, let me just do this for a moment. I'm going to run my simulation. And I'm going to do it, I'll do it this way so you can actually see what's going on. You see, it's pecking through here, not going all the way up. Now, it went directly down here. Sorry, I've got to turn it off over here, my mistake. So I saw my mistake. I can always go back and say, okay, this segment over here, turn off my PEC. Forgot to do that. Now let's go back to my simulation. And again, you can see it's pecking through there, fly to the next one, PEC, fly, PEC, back up, and do the same thing for the next hole. Okay? So that basically is the option of deep drilling. Now,
Sid, before you get too much farther on here, will the cycle time represent the feed down versus a PEC down versus all that stuff with this deep hole drilling?
Yes, it does. It definitely does, because The code, it's a regular G1 and G0.
Excellent.
So it goes exactly going to the toolpath itself.
So we do have one question from a customer, and he said,
Sure.
let's say you are in the third segment. Can you set the retract to come back? I got to move this over. Come back to the top of the part. So after that third segment, as you come down, can you retract all the way back up to the top after that spot, and then come back down to kind of clean out the flutes?
Well, sure. Yeah, well, remember, you have complete control over here. So I can say, I can add another segment. I can say, okay, I got up to this point over here. I want to go all the way back down again, and another segment of minus 152 for whatever. I'm just going. Sorry, where am I? Over here. I'm sorry. Minus 152. Okay, you do whatever I want over here.
So I
no pecking.
To answer the question, Ronnie, yes, it can be, and you can just add that in as another cycle or a segment in there. So from what you guys are seeing now, Sydney's basically just created 9 separate drilling operations all within one drilling operation now. So typically, if we were to do this in the past, we would have to have 9 separate drilling operations just to try to achieve what he's trying to do within one single operation now.
Exactly. That's about right. That's about right. Okay. Now, remember, this is a completely manual operation where you have complete control. Okay. So whatever you imagine to do, you can do that over here. Whichever way I just did it with way I felt right, but you do it whichever way you feel right, and you can just put in each segment exactly the way you want it to work. Has complete control to it. Okay? And again, I just added this little part over here. Let's see what happens. Okay?
And as he's playing that for you through, guys, the real nice thing about this too is, you know, you can use a regular drill bit, but you guys can also use a custom form tool as a drilling operation too. So let's say that custom form tool needs to be, you know, pushed pretty hard through the first half, but that second half, as it enters in a larger diameter or a counter bore, we want it to slow down a little bit. This is right where this comes in very handy for you guys as well.
Okay, now one more, I just open up just one more part for this, just a second. And let me see if I see the parts. I just have to open it here. And let's see. Yeah. So just another example. I'm not going to program this already because I have it done over here. Is this part is actually a very long part. No through hole, just a very, very long part. So what people may do is they may do a regular, your regular drilling operation at the beginning, a spot drill, and then a regular drilling operation over here. And then to go down as far as they can with a regular drill. And then for the deep drill, they'll do something like this. I'm just giving an example. You have your levels going down 250 millimeters. And into your technology, they'll go down to 2 millimeters. Now, between 2 and 5, they'll keep their spin off because as it's going down in from the very top, you don't want to start spinning it. You want to go into the hole that's already there without spinning, because again, if you start spinning a really long drill while it's out there with no support at all, it's going to go flying all over the place. Okay, so that's just another thing I just wanted to show you over here as well. Okay, so now let's go to our next feature that I'd like to show. where was I? Ah, yes. Chamfered edges and chamfer recognitions. Now, one of the problems that we always had in chamfer recognition is that it would take all of the edges, even though there were edges that may not have wanted to take. For example, if I were to show you this part here, and let me load it. Let me see, where are we? We are over here. There we go. Okay, in this particular part, what you can see here is very simple. I'd like to do chamfer recognition on the part. However, if I was to do chamfer recognition, you can see that we want to do the edges over here, but this edge already has a chamfer on it, and I don't want to grab that element to put a chamfer over there, because that's not going to help me, okay? Now, even this I may not want to have, because this already has an angled wall, and I don't want to put a chamfer over there. I just want to keep it exactly the way it is. So there are certain edges I do not necessarily want to have, because they already have some kind of angle on that wall itself. So let me just suppress what I have over here. I have to actually delete what I did over here. Delete it. Okay. And what I'm going to do is go into chamfer recognition. I always like, by the way, using the 3D model protection. Always helps. Now, up until the point, if I can go and just click on the part, okay, my minimum diameter, it would include these edges over here as well, and these edges, and I really don't want that. So let me unselect all of them, and what we've done here is we've added an option here called ignore floor wall angles less than, and we have a value over here with a default value of 90. So if I have an angle between the floor and the wall that is less than 90 degrees, for example, I know this is 45 degrees over here, it will not take those edges. This one, I think it's about 75 or something like that. It also will not take those edges. So now if I click on the part, you'll note that it took all the edges, but did not take these edges, and did not take the edges over here. So now you don't have to worry about it taking edges that you do not need. Now, what if, let me go back here for a moment. What if, okay, you know what, this is fine, but on this, I do want to give I want to break the edge just like these edges over here. No problem. I'll put in a value over here, 70. Okay, so anything less than 70 degrees, it won't take. Now, when I click on the part, you'll see that these edges were taken aside, because this fits the criteria that I put in over here. I'll just select that, choose my tool, and how about that? I already have a chamfer tool there. And my levels. Now, one more thing, since I'm here already, we've made a little change here also in our levels as well. We've added the options of controlling between which levels you want to put your chamfers on. This is extremely important. Sometimes you have a part that's very deep, and your holder, maybe your chamfer tool may be relatively short, and you don't want to go that deep into the part. So now you can control your lower level, but right now I don't need it. So I'm just going to put in my chamfer depth of, say, 0.2 millimeters. Okay, my technology stays the same. Cutting diameter, my links, I can put in any kind of link I want. Let's put in a link of an arc. Save and calculate. Simulate. Let's do this using Solid Verify and Brave. Okay? And what you'll see is that it's going to put the chamfer exactly where it needs it. It's not putting anything here, nothing here, just over there where I wanted it, over there as well, inside over there as well. You notice also it stayed away from the target over there as well as over here.
And this has been a huge request by you guys being able to really control that chamfer recognition. So now this gives you the ability to really fine tune that chamfer recognition for what you guys were looking for. So, you know, that just kind of goes to show you guys that we definitely listen to you guys when it comes to what you guys want to see in the software. So.
That's right, and may have had a problem listening before, but that problem kind of was resolved when I got hearing aids put in, so I have no problem listening to people. Okay, all right. I like to add a little humor every now and then. Okay, now let's continue on. Okay, so that I talked about. Where are we? Over here. Okay. Lower level and chamfer recognition I had mentioned already. Yes, multi-tool in-pocket operation. Now, in 2018, we had added multi-tool inside iMachining. We've also added the same thing now inside our pocket operation as well. For example, let me open up a part. Not browse, I'm going to open actually a part. Yeah, I'll do this one, that's good. Also good. Okay. I'm just going to open up the operation that I created over here already, where I want to do several pockets over here. And we have here what we call multi-tool. So if I go into my tool, you can see you can select several tools over here, just like an iMachining that we had before. And I can also tell it over here if I want to have it do a finish on the floor or wall. Let me enlarge that. And the same thing over here. So within one operation, I can use three tools, and the result will be three operations. Now, if I go and edit from any one of these, say from the second one over here, and we bring me back to the base operation, but bring me to that particular tool over there. And in the technology, it's the technology for that particular tool with the wall finish checked off. If I go to T8, you'll see that the floor is checked off. If I go to T6, which is just the roughing, you'll see nothing is checked off. These are controlled, by the way, by this over here. Okay, so that is the option of the multi-tool, just like in iMachining, but we have it now in Pocket. Now, my next option I'd like to show you, okay, just a moment. Okay, this is a really good improvement that was done for our synchronization. Previously, when we had a part that looked like this, and then our engineers tried to make changes on the part, and they added something, and they added a boss on the part over here, and they changed the shape over here. This would give us, this would be an issue with synchronization, because the geometry they had over here before was just this. Now they added something over here, and this did not exist before. So when you go back over here, the part before did not know about this. Okay, this was not part of the geometry. so it couldn't be synchronized. You wouldn't see, synchronization would not pick this up. This also would not be picked up correctly because it's an additional elements over here. So we had problems picking that up with synchronization. So what we've done is as follows. Let me load that part. And on purpose, I took a simple, very simple part, so you can see exactly what's going on. Okay. This is made possible, by the way, by the use of SmartFace for creating your geometry. So, for example, if I were to go to a pocket operation, okay, choose my geometry using SmartFace to create my geometry. I always use SmartFace to create the geometry. I'll choose the tool. And I'm going to choose, let's say, I'll choose that one, doesn't make a difference really. And my levels will be down to this point. Let's just do it at one time. We don't need to have everyone watch everything. I like to work, use profile strategy. I'll leave the links as it is, no problem. Save and calculate. Okay, and you can see the toolpath does exactly what I expected it to do. Now what I'm going to do, let me go out over here. Let me get rid of this over here. I'm going to open a part, okay, and add something to the part. I'm going to add this boss over here and this over here. Okay. Now I'm going to the part. Obviously, I'm going to save. Okay. And I'm going to check for synchronization. And you can see it needs to be synchronized. So I'm going to synchronize my part. And all I'm going to do now is take this and calculate it. As my geometry, we tagged the actual face itself, and we saw a change on the face that were related to those geometries, so to the change itself. So the change itself was now completely updated. So your synchronization will work a lot better now when you use SmartFace.
So we physically linked ourselves with that SmartFace with the SolidWorks face itself, even though that we added geometry in there, which would normally throw up a caution saying something has changed, where now, since we're using that SmartFace technology, it's automatically adapting to that new island or multiple islands in there. So just show you guys that the associativity between SolidCAM and SolidWorks is extremely strong.
Okay. All right, next. Let me see what else I have up our sleeve. Okay, now let's get to iMachining. iMachining, if you open it up in 2019, will look different to you. Now, we like to call it iMachining feature recognition. Because what it actually does, it actually recognizes where your stock is, how much stock is left over. All of this is actually taken into consideration. Now we've added also, what we've added is 4 different ways of selecting your geometries. Okay, you can select it just by faces or feature recognition by chains. We have something called outside feature recognition, which will automatically recognize the outside shape and machine the outside only according to the stock that's left over on the outside. And then your old-fashioned way of, the way we work today, of just chains. Okay, let's see exactly how this is done. There's a lot more slides in here, it involves everything, but I don't like to show always the slides. I like to actually show it on the part itself. So what I'm going to do is as follows. I'm going to open up a part. There we go. Browse, and I'm going to open up. Yeah, I like this one. This is a good one. Okay. Now, I just want to remind everybody, I personally, at this point, since I work a lot with development, the version that I'm working in now, even it's just like the release of 2019 SP0. However, it's a development version because I also work in development at the time. But basically, everything is the exact same thing. Okay. Let me delete what I've done over here. And the first thing I like to do is when I go into my line machining, if you take a look at the part, before I even go into the operation itself, if we take a look at the part itself, you can see we have different levels of floors over here. Okay, we even have this one on top over here. And we also have stock on the outside. If I show you the stock, you'll see that my stock is all the way out over there. Just for your information. Okay, so I'm going to start my first operation. And you can start it in multi-tool, or you can put it over to wherever you want, like in iRough or iRough and iFinish, whichever way you feel correct. Now you'll see over here different ways of choosing geometry that I mentioned before. We have, like I said, choosing faces, which I'll show you in a moment. Then choosing regular geometry is exactly the way we were used to, but it takes the stock and it takes the features already that are on the part already into consideration. Outside feature recognition and your regular chain features without any stock recognition or anything like that. I'm going to start this operation. I first want to machine the outside of the part. So what I'm going to do is just click on that. When I click on that, you'll note there's no geometry that has to be picked. It'll automatically recognize the target and whatever stock is outside of it. So I'm not picking any geometry. The tool I'm going to use, I'm just going to choose whatever tool I want to use in this particular case. Okay. Now, what's nice also, it shows you, gives you a preview over here of what is actually going to be cut. So you can see that's the outside material and where it's going, what's going to be cut on the part. Okay. You'll also note your levels. It automatically recognizes what your upper level is and how far down you want to go. All I'm going to do over here, everything else is the exact same thing, is save and calculate. When I save and calculate, we'll take a look in a moment what the results are. And what's nice about this is that you're actually getting visual feedback as you're working on the part itself. Okay. It's been calculated, just showing the toolpath. If I run my simulation, let's do it using Solid Verify. Let me run it quickly. You'll see it's running on the outside of the part itself. Okay, all I did when I picked the geometry was tell it I wanted to work on the outside, and it knows automatically to recognize the outside shape of the part itself. And you can see that as it's going down. It's going down to the next level, doing the exact same thing until it finishes that particular shape. I'm going to stop it for now. And I'm going to go out of here, go out. And you'll also notice that the shape of the part, if you wanted to do an outside geometry of this, it'd be kind of difficult because you see you have steps over here in the bottom. And you'd have to go up and out. So creating a chain geometry on this would make it kind of difficult. So this was made a lot easier, and also the fact that it recognizes whatever stock was left off on the outside. Okay. Now, not that I want to work this way, but I'm just going to suppress this for a moment. What if I wanted to go directly without machining these stock yet? Okay. And I wanted to do work on these pockets over here. I'm just going to do one for now. Okay. I'm going to choose my iRough, iRest, my geometry. I'm just going to use that pocket over there. You can see the face over here. Click on it again, by the way, that face will go away. It's like a toggle switch. Okay, I'm using that face and choose my tool. Okay, use that end mill over there. You'll note the preview already. It's showing you that it's going to be cutting and it's going to extend itself to the stock that's on the outside. Okay, now I'm just going to go out of here. I didn't want to do the operation. I'm going to unsuppress this. This time I'm going to go in, and since I've already machined this area, it won't extend itself to the outside. So I'm going to do iMachining 2D. And now I'm going to use the option of face, feature recognition by faces. And all I'm going to do is click on the faces. I'm going to click on this face. Note I'm going to click on this face as well, and this is on a different level. Okay, choose that face, that face, that face, that one, that one, that one, even, okay, this one, and this one here as well. So we have 9 faces that we want to work on. Okay, I'm going to choose my tool, my end mill. Okay, I don't want to work in multi-tool. I can work in multi-tool also, it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm going to choose my end mill over here. Okay, now what I'm doing actually is updating the stock because it needs to see exactly where it's going to be machining and take that into account. Okay, so you can see now that not only is it showing you the stock, it's also showing you the levels of each pocket. For example, you see it's going from 2 to -10. This one is going from 2 to -15. This one in the middle over here is going from 2 to -8. So it recognizes also automatically the levels. I want to do finish over here, not a problem. If I go into my levels, you'll see it automatically put itself into variable levels. Okay? So this was taken care of automatically because it recognized the fact that it was that I tapped the surfaces on different levels over here. Save and calculate. Okay, starting with toolpath simulation. And as you can see, if I do the simulation over here, again using Solid Verify, it'll work on each area exactly where it's supposed to work, on the proper level as well. So that is recognized automatically. Now there's one more feature I'd like to show you over here inside the iMachining. And that is, if I go into iMachining, what if I want to do an area that's a through hole over here? I want to go all the way to the bottom, okay? I'm going to do this using iRough and iFinish. So I can't use faces because I'm choosing a chain, but I still want the option of recognition. Now note, when I have the feature recognition, if I go into stock over here, these are automatically checked. Cut only rest material, extend pocket to stock. 3D model protection is automatically recognized. If I go into the one that has changed without feature recognition, you'll see as default, they are not checked. But you can always check them if you want to, okay? But that's why the defaults are the way they are. So I'm going to go now into this option over here, which has the defaults checked over there, and I'm going to choose my geometry. And just to show you the 3D model protection over here, I'm going to actually choose this chain at the very bottom of the part, okay? And the tool that I will use will be the exact same tool I used before. This one over here. Now, when it looks to update the stock, it also is looking at the actual target itself. You'll see that the upper level is -8 over here, and it's going down to -40. You can see that in the levels as well. Save and calculate. And you'll see it'll just work in this area over here. Even though my geometry was out to over there, my target was blocking it from going in all the way out over there. Okay, so we've added a lot more strength also to our eye machining. Okay, now to my, I believe my last point, which I wanted to show over here. And this has to do with simulation. We've added a new type of simulation, which basically allows you to do almost anything you wanted to do in simulation, including going backwards, forwards, work simultaneously while the simulation is going on, and see everything basically pretty strong. Now, I can even show it in this part over here that I have over here. I don't have to load a specific part for it. If I right-click on operation, we have our regular simulate, then we have the SolidCAM simulator. Now, you'll also note that next to it, it says beta. The beta version, which is what we're starting out with, the reason why it's beta is because there are still improvements that are going to be put in as we go along. So we wanted to get this out, but it is still a beta version, but it will be available to everybody, even as a beta version. Okay? So how do I use it? From the operation, I can use it directly from over here. If I'm within an operation, let's say I'm over here. Let's go into the from over here, I can also do it for each operation individually. From within the operation, and I hope this works, if I hold Control on my keyboard and click on Simulate, it'll also open up the new simulator. Now, note, let me just go back over here. Let me just close this, go out over here, and go to my operation part. Here we go. I'm going to do this new simulator over here. You'll note that's a separate fly out window. Okay? Now, I can also have it, if I have to click over here, I can have it without a fly out window, then it will be completely integrated into the part itself. If I do fly out window, get rid of that, you'll see it's actually part of the SolidWorks window itself over here. Okay? I particularly like to work with it not that way. So what I'm going to do is going to go back in here, put the slide window out, and we'll work at it this way over here. Okay, now, what do we have? How does it work? All right, we start our simulation. You can see it's going along the part itself. And what's happening also at the same time it's recording its moves. You can see that this little red line, it is red. I'm colorblind, by the way. So if I say the wrong colors, you'll understand why. But I believe this is red, they told me. This is recording its moves. What does that mean? Let me stop it for a moment. I'm going to pause it for a moment. If I were to go to my toolpath, you can see the actual toolpaths as I'm going along with it. It actually recognizes it as I'm walking along. If I were to double click here, it'll go back to there and start the simulation again from that point. Okay? I can go back over here, or I can actually double click over here, over there, and it'll go back to that point. But this, since I haven't recorded that part yet, it didn't do it. So again, I can go backwards and forwards. I can stop it. I can go backwards also. And you see when you go backwards, it rebuilds the part. And basically does more or less what you want it to do. I think people have asked for this for quite a while, to be able to go reverse on it and go back to a specific point with the simulation. Now we've enabled you to do that. Now, like again, this is a beta version in SolidCAM 2019, and we will be improving it as we go along, such as improving the speed of it as well. Okay, Kevin, I think I'm just about done.
Okay. No, sounds good. I know we had a couple questions come through, and I think between Greg and I answered majority of them. But anybody else have any questions or any concerns or anything for Sydney here? And to be 100% honest, guys, I would love to tell you that the software is going to be ready, on X amount of date. But like Sydney said, we like to double check and triple check everything for you guys is absolutely much as possible to make sure everything's 100% for you guys in the end. So let's see. The whole thing is absolutely genius, Rick said. So it was looking good, Sid.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
And Sid, you sound like you're wide awake for being, 4 o'clock in the morning? Almost 5 o'clock in the morning now?
Well, I'm up already. Might as well. I normally get up around 5 o'clock in the morning anyway.
Everybody's asking for your personal email address so they can send you enhancement requests. No, I'm kidding, Sid. No, guys, and if you guys,
no problem. My personal email address, write it down. It's kevin.rankle@solidcam.com.
No, and as you know, if you guys are watching this right now, or even watching this on YouTube, I know we'll get a lot of views on YouTube with this. If you guys do have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Everybody should have my email address that is in the chat. I do see a couple newcomers that came in a little bit late, but everybody should have my email address. So shoot me an email if you guys have questions. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, definitely my email address is in the description of the video. So if you guys do have questions, send those over. We'll get you answered any way possible for you guys. Even if you're international, we'll get you off to the right people. Even we even have Daniel in on this night class because we're doing a specialized Swiss training here. But yeah, so any questions? I don't see anything popping up. So anything comes up along the way, guys, definitely feel free to reach out to us. Now, what Sydney did show us is kind of the some of the bigger things that have come out with 19, but there also are some smaller things that we've added in there. But we just kind of wanted to, Sydney and I wanted to show you guys kind of the wow factor of what's kind of coming out for you guys. So coming out for the future. So I don't see anything else. A lot of people thank you for the presentation, Sydney. So, and I'll second that one myself. So thank you for putting this on for us. And going forward, guys, we do have Christmas coming up and New Year's coming up, so we'll have a couple weeks off from the night class. And then for those of you guys that were kind of following with the night class before, we were programming that customer's part. We'll kind of finish programming that. So kind of showing you guys how to program that. And like I've said in the past, any ideas that you guys have, let me know. Send those over to me via email, and we'll definitely add those in there. Send me parts that you guys are currently having issues with. We'll program them live for you between Greg and myself. And I just want to hold Greg accountable, so he has to be here to help out. So. But let's see. Got one to send. Ronnie, I don't want your parts. I've seen a lot of your parts. Your parts, yeah, you can keep them. No, I'm kidding. No, definitely. And like I said, we like to keep this pretty light for you guys. So let us know what we can do to help you guys out. And I guess I don't see anything else coming through. So with that being said, you guys have a great, very Merry Christmas and a great New Year's. And if I don't talk to you in the meantime, we will see you guys on, give me 1 second. It is going to be the January 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll do that part wrap up. And then what I'll do is I'll have Jack update our website so we can get some new classes added in there for you guys as well. So, but like I said, any ideas, send those over to me via email and get those added in there for you guys. So, said anything else you want to add before we run off here?
No, just happy holidays, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop an email to Kevin. He'll get back to me, and I'll try to do as best as I can. And like I said, now that I hear better, so I can I can hear feature requests more better. No, just kidding.
That's what we call our dedicated engineers. We're all going deaf because we've been sitting in front of the CNC machine for so many years. So.
Yes. Been there, done that.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, we'll end it off here. And like I said, any questions come along the way, let me know what we can do to help you guys out in any way possible. And like I said, if we don't talk to you in the meantime, we will talk to you guys on the 8th. All right, guys. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. Bye.